What are the best ab exercises for muscle growth? Well, for ab movements to work well, they need to tick 3 criteria. Number 1, high muscle activation/tension. Number 2, it needs to be good for progressive overload. And number 3, it needs to feel good. Feel good as in offer a solid burn. In this video, I'm going to put 4 different ab training techniques to the test across 4 different weeks. After each week, I'm going to rank the exercises out of 100 based off those 3 criteria, as well as post physique updates to compare changes in my ab muscles.
The rules are simple. All I have to do is hit abs every single day for the next 30 days, using the techniques that I've chosen.
Here is what I look like on day 1 of week 1. For all of my check-ins, I'm flexing as hard as I can to keep it consistent. And even though I'm flexing genuinely as hard as I can, you really can't see anything. And by the end of the 30 days, the results actually shocked me at how much I changed. So stay tuned, it's going to be awesome. For this first week, I've chosen to go with one of my favorites for ab training, cable crunches. There are a few different ways to do these, but I've chosen to do them like this as it feels best for me. When I'm setting up, the first thing I focus on is positioning. I kneel down in front of the cable machine with a rope attachment. I think about curling my spine and pulling my rib cage down towards my pelvis. The goal here isn't to move the weight from point A to B, it's to keep constant tension on the abs. I imagine I'm doing a crunch on the floor, but with resistance that's pulling me upwards. Another key is range of motion. I like to go all the way up until my abs are stretched, then crunch down under control until my elbows are close to my knees. Slow, controlled reps feel way better than fast ones. I'm now on day 2, and I felt super sore, but pushed on anyways, because I needed some good abs for summer. In terms of progressive overload, ab crunches are phenomenal, because you can just keep adding weight on the stack as you progress. Not a lot of ab exercises allow you to load up consistently without wrecking your form. But with these, I can keep chasing heavier stacks while still focusing on tension. On day 4, I started to notice myself get stronger, so I upped the weight on the stack to match my growing strength. Another thing I like about these is the burn I get at the bottom of every rep. If I hold that contraction for just a second, it feels brutal, but in the best possible way. By day 6, I started to feel more mind-muscle connection as my abs developed further, which was a very motivating feeling. Overall, cable crunches are one of the most effective ab building tools in my opinion. This brings us to the end of week 1. Here is what I look like, and here's where I started out. Not a drastic improvement, but for 1 week, you can definitely notice a small difference. Overall, I'm going to give cable crunches a 90 out of 100 for progressive overload, an 85 for high muscle tension, and a 90 for feeling a really solid burn. In total, cable crunches are sitting at 88.33 out of 100. Absolutely phenomenal exercise. Week 2 is here, and while cable crunches are a really solid exercise, I wanted something that was going to target my obliques as well. This isn't just one exercise, it's a small circuit of 4. The first is crunches, second is ankle taps, third is bicycle kicks, and fourth is 10 boat holds. I'll start with crunches. The key for me here is keeping them small and controlled. I'm not trying to sit all the way up, just curling my chest towards my knees and keeping the tension locked onto my abs the entire time. If I relax at the bottom, I lose the burn. So the goal is no rest until the set is done. The next movement in the circuit is ankle taps. These look easy at first, but they target the obliques nicely. I keep my shoulder blades off the ground and focus on moving side to side with control, really squeezing each tap. I've found, like crunches, if I don't really control my reps, I won't feel that solid burn that I'm chasing. The third movement is bicycle kicks. This one ramps the intensity up a lot. The key here is to keep the legs extended as much as possible and rotate them through the torso. Finally, I finish with boat holds. I balance on my tailbone, keep my chest up, and brace my core. By this point, my abs are already screaming from the other 3 movements. So this is just about hanging on and squeezing until the very end. By day 2, I realized these are definitely more effort to complete than cable crunches and take a lot longer. However, they also offered a really insane burn that matched, if not outdid, that of the cable crunches. The thing I really noticed with this circuit is the time under tension. Unlike cable crunches, when you hit one heavy movement, this is more about constant burn. There's no real break between the 4 exercises, so my abs are working non-stop. It's less about progressive overload with weight, and more about endurance, volume, and pushing through the burn. On day 3, I noticed my obliques were quite sore during the day, since I hadn't really targeted them yet. I took this as a good sign. What surprised me is how much the boat holds made the whole set so much harder. Even though it's the shortest part, finishing with that static position after the dynamic work makes your abs feel like they're about to give out. This brings us to day 5. I started lasting longer in the boat hold without shaking as much. It was a big sign that my core strength was improving. By the end of the week, I really felt this circuit not just building ab strength, but also core stability. It's humbling because it's just body weight, but if you commit to the form and don't cheat the reps, it burns harder than most weighted ab work. Here is what I looked like on day 7 after doing 2 weeks of abs every day. This is the official halfway point, and compared to where I started, I'd like to say I've put on a considerable amount of muscle. Overall, I'm giving the circuit a 50 out of 100 for progressive overload, a 70 out of 100 for tension, and a 90 out of 100 for a burn, with a total equaling 70 out of 100 for the circuit. Currently, cable crunches are leading the charge at 88.33 out of 100, with the circuit just below it. Let's move to week 3. This week, I've gone with one of the hardest ab exercises out there, the ab rollers. I did these on my knees for the entire week, which is still brutal if you do them properly. The setup is simple. You grab the roller, brace your core, and slowly extend forward. It puts insane tension on your abs the entire time. Unlike crunches or circuits, there's no real resting point the entire time you do this movement. As soon as you roll forward, your abs are fighting to stop your lower back from arching and keep your body tight. One of the biggest cues I focus on is control. If you let yourself just flop forward, your abs aren't doing the work, your lower back is. So I roll out as far as I can while keeping my hips tucked under and my abs braced. Then slowly pull myself back in. On day 2, I woke up insanely sore through my abs, way more than I expected. What's interesting about the ab rollers is they don't really give you that same burn that you would get from high rep exercises. With crunches or circuits, you get that fire in your core mid-set, but with rollouts, it feels different. It's more of a deep, constant tension. And honestly, I didn't really feel the burn in the moment, but the next day, I was insanely sore, which tells me that I'm still breaking down the muscle fibers effectively. By day 3, I noticed I could extend further without collapsing, which showed my core strength was improving. Another thing I love about ab rollouts is how it challenges your stability. It's not just your abs working, you're also using your lats, shoulders, and even your glutes to stay in control. It makes the movement feel full body, even though the abs are the prime movers. By day 5, I was way less shaky in the bottom position. At first, I could barely pause there, but later in the week, I was holding it steady. The progressive overload here comes from increasing your range of motion. The stronger your core gets, the further you can roll out. Eventually, you can even progress to standing rollouts, which are insanely tough. By the end of the week, I felt that the ab rollers gave me the best ab stimulation of the challenge so far. They don't deliver the same surface level burn as circuits, but the soreness the next day was proof that they were breaking my abs down and forcing them to recover. Here is what I looked like on day 7 of week 3. I definitely noticed my abs look slightly more prominent now, sticking out a little bit more. Overall, I'm going to rank these 65 out of 100 for progressive overload, as technical changes can increase how hard it is, 95 out of 100 for tension throughout the movement, and 80 out of 100 for the burn. The total comes out to 80 out of 100, which slides right in between cable crunches and the circuit. We're now entering the final week, and the technique I decided to use is slightly different to the ones I've used in this challenge so far. I've decided to throw them in there because of how popular they are, and I really wanted to put them to the test. For the final week, I'm doing isometric movements, such as the plank, side plank, and hollow body holds. Starting with the plank, the key is alignment. I make sure my elbows are under my shoulders, my core is braced, and my hips don't sag. The goal is to maintain a perfect straight line from head to heels while keeping my abs tight the entire time. It's all about constant tension. No rocking or pausing halfway through. You really got to grind these out. Then we move to the side plank. This one hits the obliques and challenges balance. I stack my feet, keep my hips lifted, and squeeze my core and glutes. Even holding for just 20 to 30 seconds can feel brutal, but it's one of the best ways to build lateral core strength. I found these really hard at first, especially to keep stable. It was very shaky. Finally, the hollow body hold. This is my favorite for finishing the set. I lie on my back, lift my shoulders and legs off the ground, and press my lower back into the floor. One of the things I love about isometrics is how they force mind-muscle connection. Unlike rolling out or doing circuits, you're not moving through reps. You're bracing and controlling every second. That constant engagement builds strength, endurance, and stability all at once. By day 4, I noticed my planks felt more stable and side planks were less shaky. I could really feel the improvements in core control. Even though these movements don't involve heavy weights or lots of reps, the burn and fatigue accumulate if you push long enough. By day 6, I felt my core was more engaged during everyday movements, which was a nice bonus from this week's work. I especially noticed that my pull-ups were a lot stricter since my core was developing more. Overall, for week 4, I'm going to rank these 55 out of 100 for progressive overload, 65 out of 100 for burn, and 50 out of 100 for tension. The total comes out to around 56.66 out of 100, which comes in last. I have finally made it to the final check-in on day 7 of week 4, and here is what I look like. I am extremely happy with how this challenge has gone and how I look. I honestly didn't think in just 30 days my abs would change that drastically, and I am so glad that I decided to do this challenge. I've learned a lot from these past 30 days, and moving forward, I'm going to focus on cable crunches as they took the win, and for good reason. But I'm also going to add in ab rollers, because they really targeted my lower abs unlike any other exercise I'd completed throughout the entire challenge. From where I started just 30 days ago, the difference is honestly quite stark. I really hope this video serves as motivation for some of you, as in just 30 days you could build a really solid set of abs, especially when paired with a high protein diet and maybe some cardio. This won't be the last 30-day challenge I do, so stay tuned. Thank you guys so much for watching until the end, and I'll catch you next time.